how you doing? It's me. um, I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've made a video. I know it has. I think the last one I made was maybe Christmas, maybe I think. Yeah, but anyway, I actually meant to do a 6 month update because I have a 3 month update. I was gonna do a 6 month and a 9 month and a 12 month, But yeah, um, here I am. This is 7 months, and I'm just now doing another update. But yeah, let's see. What I want to say. I hope I'm not too close to the camera. Um, I mean, things are still, they're still going okay. A couple things are different, which I'll tell you about in a while. But I mean, in general, things are still good. I'm okay. I'm surviving. There's nothing like extraordinary happening or going on. But I think how they go through. I've read that when you go to another country, you go through 4 stages of culture shock, right? And I had to write it down because I forget stuff. The first one is honeymoon. The second one is withdrawal or frustration. The third one is acceptance or adjustment, and then the fourth one is enthusiasm. Um, I think I don't know how long these stages are supposed to last, and I honestly don't think they go through like stage one, then stage two, then stage three. At least not for me. I've been in the honeymoon, then I've been in the frustration one, then I've gone back to the honeymoon one, then I've gone down to okay, I can accept this, I can get it. Then I think I'm good, and I'm like, oh my god, no, I want to go home. This is not what I signed up for. Um, so I think it's definitely been kind of like a roller coaster, and I think for the past week for the past not only for the past week, but for a little while, especially after my mom came and left, I've really, really been missing home. I think right now maybe I'm in the withdrawal, frustration phase of culture shock right now again. um, but yeah, and I guess a few things have changed as well too. Like my working hours have changed. They've increased my teaching hours, so I teach more classes per week than I did, and I just I have more work to do, and I think that's a little bit more stressful too. So that's probably just adding to my frustration. Um, Culturally, I'm already frustrated culturally, much less. There's just more work to do anyway. So, um, but basically, I kind of wanted to talk today about being black here, being black in Korea. And I wasn't going to do this topic. I don't know, I didn't want to necessarily get into racism and discrimination and all that. That wasn't one of the videos I planned to do. But I think I should do it because I think lately, I don't know if because I'm just been kind of just not seeing it or just not choosing not to acknowledge, how differently I'm treated. Although it's not a big difference, but I am treated differently. At least I think so. Um, because I was being optimistic, or I was being in my little honeymoon period, or just because I don't know, maybe I just didn't notice it. But anyway, I wanted to talk about being black here and my experience with it, and I think maybe because a few things have happened as well in the past few months, or actually it hasn't been the past few months. But yeah, so as I've said in other videos, I've definitely already talked about the touching of your skin, like they're like kids, mostly the kids, the adults don't try that mess with me, but the kids are always like and the staring I told you, but um I don't know. I guess I've just been noticing more now. I've definitely been noticing more. And I've known that I've always attracted or drawn more attention than Caucasians do, or other, um, types of foreigners do, because I'm black. I've always known that, white people, they get this amount of attention, but me as a black person, I get even more attention. I've had this. I remember this Caucasian girl said to me, I'm black. I mean, I'm white, and I know I draw attention, but I can only imagine what kind of attention you draw, being black here. So it definitely is different, and I'm not gonna say it's it's never this really, oh my god, they're gonna say look at a black person, or it's gonna be so blatant that you're gonna feel so bad, but it's very subtle. It really is really subtle. um of course, there's the staring. There really is the staring, and the when you walk into a room, or you go past somebody, or you someone hasn't seen you coming, and you like appear in front of them, not on purpose, but that's just how it happens, and they're like or like you're some kind of other species, animal, completely and totally different from them. And at first I was just like, I found it kind of funny, whatever, but now it's just getting on my nerves, and I think that's what it is. I think The staring just getting on my nerves. Even the little kids, they keep time after time just keep touching, 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 like, or they try to be sly with it. They'd be like, and think that I don't feel them touching my skin. But the kids, honestly, I'm forgivable with the kids because they're curious. Prejudice and racism and things like that are not. It's not inherent. It's a learned behavior. So I understand, and I'm not saying that everyone in Korea is prejudiced or that everyone is racist. I'm just talking about how I'm feeling right now. But the kids, I understand. But the adults, nah, man. These adults, I don't know. I don't know. They're just it's subtle. You see it like when I go shopping, and they're looking at me and they're telling me like they'll look at me or they'll look at my size and they'll say no 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 even if I try to like look through something they'll say like no we don't have it so that may not be black that may just be a size issue but even when you go into the store and they just go and they follow you and talking to you and it's like okay leave me alone. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the States when a black person walks in the store and people are just following you because they think you might steal, and it's probably out of curiosity. It is, and obviously I don't understand what they're saying because I don't speak the language yet, which is probably another which I take responsibility for. um, but that's just how I feel. And how when I'm shopping, they like if there are other people there, they always kind of attend to the other people. The Koreans most likely first usually, unless I'm in like a supermarket or something like that. But if say I'm like in the market or just another place, if there's someone there and I'm standing there too, and we're not in like a really distinct line, like it's not like a cashier's line, they're gonna take the Korean person first. Um, before they come to you. I've had taxi drivers that just kind of when I get into the car, like their whole demeanor changes, and obviously I know this has to be, maybe they're afraid. A lot of Koreans in general are nervous about meeting foreigners. They're very nervous, and I understand that. But I just think that some of it is not being nervous. I think some of it is because people of color here, black people, are just treated. I feel like I'm treated differently than a white person. Um, or a Caucasian, let me say. And yeah, I've been in taxis where they'll just totally shut down. I mean, completely shut down. Even if I have, um, if I know where I'm going, if I can actually say, because I mean, I can't speak it, where I don't speak the language well, but I can say some things, and sometimes they do understand because they know what I'm saying, but they're just completely rude and just rushing you out the car, and it's just really bad. And again, I'm not saying this is across the board. This is just different experiences that I've had, or the fact that they're always, if I'm with someone, like I have a Korean friend, and if we're together and we're eating or something, and she'll like tell me, oh, this person, they're talking about you, they're having a conversation, and a lot of people are always assuming that I'm African because the only people who are foreigners who can be dark skinned like myself and probably have a hairstyle like this are Africans. And I think that's so, it's just stereotypical. It's not a problem. I don't have any problem being assumed, having people assume that I'm African. I really don't. I like Africa, love Africans, have no problem. But I'm just saying that I think that they should be more broad-minded, that not only or Americans aren't only white, Americans aren't only light skinned, so that it does get annoying after a while. And I know I've been told by Africans, by especially people from Ghana, are always asking me if I'm African, always. So I know I have those features, maybe I would guess, but yeah, it is kind of, it does get annoying when the first thing people respond, Africa, Africa. No, of course, ancestrally, yes, I'm from Africa. We're all from Africa. I know, but no, the first thing that comes out their mouth is always Africa, and it's like no, I'm not African. Um, at least I wasn't born there, is what I mean. No disrespect meant. Let me see what else. I've had teachers. Oh, okay. Let me get to the teacher thing next. But I've had people who, like, when you sit down next to them, and of course, okay, let me just tell you. I've had people who sit down next to me, or if I sit down next to them, like if I get on the train or if I get on the subway or the bus, and they're just like suddenly just like moving, like making themselves so small. Now, that could be a number of things. That could be both my size, because everybody in Korea is just extra skinny. Even though I am not fat, I'm just want to put that out there. But they just subtly move away from you. Everything is very subtle. It's very, very subtle. And although, a lot of times, like I said before, maybe I was just being optimistic, or I was trying not to always, I don't always like to see the bad and everything. I'm always something's gonna happen to me and be like, oh, you're racist, oh, you're prejudiced. I don't think like that. I try to find the good first before, but now I'm like, I'm not sure. Maybe this is something more than what I originally thought. Um, but that happens all the time. Or if you're holding on the same pole, they immediately move their hands because, of course, maybe we just can't fit on a long pole and there's only two hands, my hand and theirs. But yeah, and then like even this week, I had, and this happens all the time. Like I said, when you go into a room, or if you are in front of somebody, or if they haven't seen you coming, or they don't expect you, they like just like that. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. And so I walked into a room. This happened at school. I walked into the room, and all of the teachers were there. I was late. I was finishing a class, and I was late to this little meeting they were having. And so this lady next to me, she's a fellow teacher. She was just like, and then she went to the side of whatever. Which I'm kind of used to. People are always doing that. I mean, they do that on the street. They do it on the bus. They do it when you're walking. They're like, oh, look, 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 look. I'm used to that. But then what really got to me is she was standing here, and there were people here. I had to walk by her to get to the other side so I could go and sit next to my co-teacher. And when I was walking by, I kid you not, when I was walking by, she like went like this. And I'm like, what is your problem? Like, are you okay? Like, I'm not going to hurt you. What's wrong with you? But even though I asked her, she didn't she was still too busy screaming before she realized that I was actually talking to her. She probably wouldn't have understood what I said anyway. But I just thought that was so rude. There's no reason. Like, and I was trying to think, so I was thinking about it. I was like, that's so rude. But at this particular school, not a lot of the teachers speak good English. So it was hard for me to explain to them, like, why, what I wanted to say about it. So I was thinking in my head, like, well, maybe she was just surprised, or maybe she was just, this is what I was thinking at first. And I was thinking about, no, this lady is just acting up because I walked by her. And I was just thinking about other ways that she's acted, either when I've come in the room or whatever. And so I'm not making this video out of retaliation to her or anything. Just wanted to tell you that. But this is just some of the things that I've been noticing, and things that's been happening recently. And I'm like, there's no, I can accept it. I can forgive it when it's from children. When it's from children, I understand. Like I said, I don't think prejudice and racism and just discrimination, good or bad, is it's not inherent. It's something that you learn over time, and their whole approach to not getting dark. Like, you see people walking around. Koreans are very pale. Most of them are really pale, and they don't like to get darker. They don't want to be tanned. They're always in the summertime. You see them walking around with umbrellas because they are just so afraid of getting darker. So for someone like me who's really dark skinned to come, then I think that just kind of, it throws them off a bit, and they kind of take steps back. So yeah, I think that was basically what I've been experiencing here, with Koreans. Now, as I said, most people before, and this is still true. I've said this in other videos. Most people are nice. Most people are helpful. Most people are curious, and they'll ask you lots of questions, and so on, and they're not, and it's not in a rude way. It's more in a curious way. And like I said, I'm not always just thinking, oh, she's racist, oh, he's prejudiced, blah blah blah. But I think it's just things that have happened over time. Oh, and the other thing, the touching you. Like I said, the children touch you, but I have my hair like this a lot of times, and they're always touching it. Like, oh, can I touch it? Like, no, leave me alone. Like, it's hair. You haven't seen it, so you look at it, and it's good. It's just hair. Leave it alone. Can you touch your hair? No, not anymore. So they used to, all the time, they used to always, oh, can I touch it? Can I touch it? Like, it's hair. No, you may not have seen it, but I just don't like to be treated, I don't like to feel like I'm, in a zoo. And I'm just this thing that they haven't seen. and so they need to touch it, or they need to touch my earrings, or they need to touch this. If I haven't seen, I think too, because if I haven't seen something, or I haven't seen a type of person before, I'm not going up to them touching them. Like, I would never do that. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just a culture thing, but I would never go up to somebody and say, oh, can I touch your hair? Can I touch your skin? That's ridiculous. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But but you know, I guess it's just how it is here. So yeah, just noticing like subtle, you know, people either shutting down, not saying. I've had people try to introduce, like Koreans who talk to me or know me, try to introduce, you know, their spouses or their family members, and I'll say, you know, hi, or even 안녕하세요, and they're like, they just like look at me, they just look at me, and I'm just like, okay, I understand if you're nervous, but I think, especially if you're an adult, it's called tact. It's being polite. You could be as nervous as you want, but almost all Koreans start studying English, you know, at like third grade. You know how to say hello. Like, you know what I mean? I think, and even, or even speaking Korean, they can speak in Korean. I understand hello in Korean as well. So I'm not saying that I expect everyone to, you know, act American or talk English or anything, but I just think that there are ways to be polite. There are ways that you have to think about what someone else, be empathetic, what someone else might find insulting. So as I said, these aren't like extraordinary things, you know, but nobody's beating me in the streets and or anything like that. But it's just subtle things, and I think just over time